Of the 16 cars on a rental car lot, 6 are minivans, 7 are sedans, and 3 are hatchbacks. Talia will rent 3 of these cars chosen at random for business associates. What is the probability that Talia will rent one of each of the 3 types of cars? So, anytime that you are dealing with probability questions like these, you need to ask yourself, does the order matter or does it not matter which order that she picks these cars in? If the order does matter, we're going to use one method. If the order does not matter, we're going to use a combinations method. So, I'm going to just walk through the most common mistake the students make on this one, and they do it as if the order mattered. So they'll do the probability of the first times the probability of the second times the probability of the third, which is all that you would need to do if they told us they picked a minivan first, a sedan second, and a hatchback third, for example. So in that scenario, we would do 6 over 16, which is the probability of the first car, times 7 over 15, because there's now one fewer cars than there were from the first draw, and then 3 over 14, because there is again now one fewer car than the previous time. When you multiply this together, it would give us the total probability of choosing one of each in this specific order. However, in this scenario, the order doesn't matter. She could pick the sedan first and the hatchback second. She could pick the minivan first and the hatchback last. Whatever, they're not asking us for a specific order. It's just they get one of each of these. And so in that scenario, we've got to do it a little bit differently. We're going to use a combination. So if you know how to use your calculator with this, you're welcome to use your calculator. I'm going to show you how to do it without a calculator. The formula we're going for is favorable outcomes over total outcomes. Okay. The favorable outcomes is actually going to be the same as if we had a scenario where the order did matter. You're just going to do 6 times 7 times 3 if we're for this scenario. Okay. If there was a more complex scenario, you might not be able to use that, but on almost every option on the ACT, it's just going to be one thing that you're going to be choosing from each. And so you've got a very good shot of just being able to do 6 times 7 times 3, which is going to give us 126. So that's going to be our number of favorable outcomes. And then we just need to figure out the number of total outcomes, which this part is going to be a little bit different. So in our numerator, it's going to be 16 times 15 times 14, just the exact same as if the order did matter, except it's in the numerator. And then in our denominator, we're going to do a factorial of how many options we have. So since we have 3 cars that we're trying to choose, we'll do 3 factorial, which is just 3 times 2 times 1. And this is going to give us our total number of outcomes. So to simplify this, we're just going to go ahead and cross some of these off to make our life easy. And then it's just 8 times 5 times 14. It's going to be 560 for our total outcomes. You could also just do 16C3 in your calculator. If you know how to use a calculator for that, we'll do the same thing, but that is all the math that is happening. It's just going to be the same as the denominator from if the order did matter, and then a factorial of the number of options they were choosing in the denominator to get us 560 in this scenario. And then we can just divide 126 by 560 to get 0.225, hit math, enter on your calculator to get a total of 9 over 40, which is answer K.